Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago and viewers. As coming off from the news, the Calypso fraternity right now is in mourning with the passing of Denyse Plumber, such an icon here for us in Trinidad and Tobago. And interestingly, just a couple days shy of Independence Day. Now, we are being joined online by Miss Shirlane Hendrickson, who is the General Secretary of the Tobago Unified Calypsonians organization. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candace Jackson and all of Tobago and the region as we listen to your wonderful program, and I must tip my hats to you. So, on behalf of our president, Mr. Ainsley King, who called me and told me to step in, it's with what we are sad. We are
Yes.
sad, even though we would have heard of her health challenges. But she was not just any icon, she was an indefatigable icon. And we would always, always remember it's like I'm talking to you and I'm like I've seen her.
Mm,
So we are sad to have lost another treasure,
mhm.
who have walked, certainly left her cultural footprints indelibly written, in the sands of time. And for Trinidad and Tobago, she would have waved the flag locally, regionally, and internationally across the globe. Calypso queen, musician. She started off as a guitarist. She attended the Holy Name Prep and Holy Name Convent, and would have shied away maybe in the earlier days because
Yes.
of the stigma that would have been attached to being a woman in the calypso realm. But I must say she stepped in after she was encouraged by both Len Boogsy Sharp and our wonderful icon, Super Blue.
Mm.
And Austin Lyons, the Super Blue, encouraged her and she stepped foot. And of course, as we know in the cultural world, as she entered the semifinals being selected, she was given the toilet paper bath, but that did not deter her. And many younger Calypsonians, especially the females in the art form, could attest to her encouraging them. Do not let anything daunt you. Keep
Mm.
going amidst the challenges. And I, for one, would remember, because she told me when I won the very first National Calypso, way back in, I say way back, 1998, and after that I won it 4 years straight. And she told me, if you ain't have a good guy, so don't go back and that. And I would not, I would not forget her. And she was always very affable. Her sister, who was her manager, Miss Arlene, who too would have passed. But we can't forget Denise. Denise would have represented well, and she would have shown us too that she would have chosen to put God first after in 2015. And it's going down my alley. I too was ordained on the 4th of March 2023. I'm an itinerant deacon and still singing calypso, and still educating people with a Master's of Arts in Calypso Studies at the University of Trinidad and Tobago and going on to pursue a doctorate. That too, she would have encouraged us. Don't forget your education. So it's nice as a woman to be talking about Denise and, of course, our Auntie Rosie, who is still alive, still with us. She
Yes.
would have been
Still
like the
going strong.
matriarch. Yes, yes, and Lady Wanda, my sister and I, and Dad, she would have also carried us on tour for the first time, and Denise as well. So we have a lot of rich history, and it's the onus is on us now and Tuco to continue educating the younger ones about Denise, her legacy, her music, the messages in the song, Pan Rising, One Love, 1986. And then she went on to Woman is Boss.
Mm.
So, Woman is Boss, Candice.
Of course. I
Woman
mean,
is Boss.
and I love your demeanor this morning because even though that we have lost someone so big in our industry and that had broken so many barriers, because yeah, and let me just talk a little bit about some of the barriers that she broke. Just
Yes,
being for who she was, coming
yeah,
into this industry, not just as a woman, but just everything about her was just so groundbreaking.
yes. And that should tell us about the uniqueness of Trinidad and Tobago, our
Hmm.
cultural diversity. And that's one of the things that we should be like expounding to the world. It doesn't matter what color, what ethnicity, what your background is, rich, poor, indifferent. It's the fact that our music, our culture, our steel band, mass, and calypso, and our soca music, our chutney music, limbo, our heritage from Tobago, I mean, who else could dance the heritage like Tobagonians? And these are the things that we have which are so unique that we should be selling to the world. We do not need crime. When people ask me, and I'm emceeing on
All this foolery as windows dressing, testing love.
I would say welcome to sweet Trinidad and Tobago, the only place in the world where we do not know what crime is. We don't have that.
Yeah. I mean, and then if you when you look up, as you mentioned, and when you look back at some of her songs, like her lyrics was so there were a lot of positivity in her lyrics, and it spoke
Very much.
to a lot about just who we are as a people and so on. And
Yes,
how should we keep that alive?
by implementing all of that into our curriculum in schools. Calypso should be the literature.
Hmm.
It's by calypsos our stories are told. You want to know what happened back in 1960? Check a calypso. And that's what we're talking about. Now leaving. That is one of the most patriotic calypsos. Now leaving. You just ain't going. You might go out for a little while and come back. But I mean, you can't. You will miss the roti, the morbi, the pumpkin pie. You will miss it. And when you look inside of that, the heroes, and there are no winners.
Hmm.
Woman is boss. This is what we're talking about. Pan rising. It's a one love. These are the things that the radio stations, and that's why I really commend your station for doing this today so that we can continue to talk about it. It must be resonating in our streams every time. And children in each generation should be able to say when you ask, who was Denyse Plumber? They shouldn't be able to say, I don't know.
Hmm.
We should know. So the onus is on us to continuously impart that knowledge, and what better way than to include it in our curriculum in the schools?
And certainly. And what about Tuko? What will Tuko be doing to remember her, as well as the number of icons that we lost, even just this year?
What we would continue to do for a while now, Tuko, especially during Calypso History Month, which is now being incorporated in almost every part of the world. It's amazing what Toronto, Canada is doing in their schools, what London have been doing in their schools. It's amazing the kind of work that Brother Resistance would have started back in London. And again, I am going back into the curriculum. So Calypso History Month, we would be having one of our, and I don't hope I'm not preempting, but one of our big featured events, and we want to tip our hats to Mr. Ainsley King, our president, and the team for initiating such the children of the icons, because our children are the ones who would carry on this legacy. And this is one of the shows that is going to be happening for Calypso History Month, as well as each year, one of the tents would host an icon, whether they're alive or not. So through the Calypsonians, we will be singing their music in the tents. So I can bet my bottom dollar that the tents will be dedicating next year, God's willing, or Calypso History Month dedicated to Denyse Plumber. Last time it was singing Sandra, it was Brother Resistance. And that's the way we keep the music alive and ensure that the libraries, I will be coming to Tobago and working along with the education and research officer and those at the Carnival Museum, Miss Rosalind Gabriel and then Mr. Kenny Attai, because I think they too, the fourth exhibition at Carnival Museum would be on Calypso and its history, as well as the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts, where years ago we had a whole segment dedicated to the women in Calypso, and more so right now as Denyse has passed. This is one of the projects that we are working on. So it's always something that is continuous. It's alive. It may not get all the attention it should be getting, but we are not going to stop. We will continue to persevere, not just locally, regionally, and internationally.
Certainly. And then, as we're talking, as we're remembering Denise Plummer, what do you think is one moment in her musical career that really stands out and really encapsulates who she is or who she was as as a Calypsonian?
To me, it's the night she won her Calypso Monarch, Not Leaving. That in the savannah, I mean, you should have been there. I was there and looking on at her and the entire production on stage. We haven't seen something like that in a while, and sometimes even in the Calypso world where they say you cannot let your props overrule your performance. Well, boy, that was a whole theatrical production that it's one of the most outstanding things, especially as we would have had foreigners, visitors, those who had not been home for a while within the audience sitting down. And this whole thing about not leaving, it wants you to just stay in Trinidad and Tobago and don't go back nowhere else in the world.
Certainly. And as we get ready to wrap, this what would you like the people of Tran Tobago to know? I mean, even as are remembering, and oftentimes when someone passes, that's when we dig up all the old songs and we start to play them. But then a couple days after, we forget.
Right.
So, but how do you want the people of Trinidad and Tobago to continue with her legacy and to remember the woman she was?
her stance, her stance meaning she didn't let anything daunt her with respect to ethnicity, race. We are one people. We
Mm.
have such a rich background, African, Indian, Syrian, Chinese, you name it. We just a cultural diversity of people who there are no other people like us in the world. And I can attest to that because I've lived 30 something years in the States. I have lived a while in Africa. I can tell you, so there ain't nobody like us. We quarrel today, we love up tomorrow. And this is what we need right now. We shouldn't have no fighting and quarreling and guns. We could afford, especially when in Tobago we have the heritage. I experience heritage, and I can tell you this thing about going from door to door. That's how long time. That's what we need to bring back. Bring back that kind of cultural renaissance. That is what we need, and that is what Denise would want us to remember, especially in her music. And that's why we ain't going nowhere. We're not leaving.
That's such a perfect note to end this as we talk about, just the wonderful icon that Denyse Plumber was. I want to thank you so much, Miss Hendrickson, for being on with us. It was such a pleasure speaking with you this morning.
And same here, and to all Tobagonians, all you're not more Tobagonian than me. I was born in Chewacca, Claverville, but I've been coming with my daddy all rounder and my sister Lady Wonder way back when we used to have the road shows. So we
Mm.
would come and sing in Roxborough and then come all the way down to Scarborough, and everybody would come out on the side of the road and wave and whatnot. So we are one people. Let us continue to promote that love, that one love that Denise spoke about back in 1986. Let's do that, and so many other Calypsonians. I know, Uncle Shadow. You hear what
Yes.
I'm telling you? Uncle Eric Powder, Uncle Tobago Rio. I can go on because they were all my Uncle Royal Titus. I was there for the funeral because we grew up on stage with them.
Mm.
Uncle Prince Unique. The entire 9 yards of Calypsonians. Listen, we are one. Tobago, no Tobago updates. Keep up your good work, Kandace. Don't give up. And to Mr. Parks and all of the wonderful team. On behalf of Mr. Ainsel King and the Trinbago Unified Calypsonians Organization, long live Kaiso. Long live Kaiso. Long live
Certainly.
Kaiso.
Thank you so much. And viewers, yes, I was Miss Hendrickson as we wrap this interview. As we remember the passing of Miss Denyse Plumber, such an icon, such a wonderful calypsonian within our space. Unfortunately lost, but her music is not lost. Her music is still with us. So we'll go to a break and we'll be right back.
I say,